Bring Her Back brought us back to the theaters for another ride.
That's a good one. That was a good one.
Bring Her Back brought us back to the cinema. You know, we're kind of holdouts for the whole going back to the cinema.
Oh yeah, yeah. We're famously anti-movie theater.
We're very much.
I like the part where they said "talk to me" in this one. That's a reference to the first movie.
So hey, what's the plot of Bring Her Back?
Bring Her Back was made by the two Australian guys who made Talk to Me a couple years ago. And this isn't really relevant, but apparently Talk to Me 2 got announced. And it has the same naming structure as the Fast and Furious movies, so it's called Talk to Me, which is really funny.
Wait, they literally gotta do the one for me, one for you on Talk to Me?
I guess. I don't know.
Or do you think they were like, we'll do a sequel,
I guess. I don't know.
We got more to say, but...
Let's Talk to Me. Anyway, this is Bring Her Back. There's a lady who adopts two kids. One of them's 17, one of them's like a 15-year-old blind girl, and their brother and sister. And she also has a creepy little kid who doesn't speak and eats animals. And then some other stuff happens. Man's gotta eat.
Man's gotta eat.
He gets all bloated. Anyway, Connor, what'd you think of Bring Her Back?
Oh wow, we skipped a lot of plot.
I didn't want to
well, you don't want to spoil it, but you didn't even mention that her daughter drowned in the pool.
Yeah, her daughter drowned in the pool, and the creepy kid.
The blonde, but the daughter was blind like the little girl.
True.
And their dad just died.
I mean, the title's basically a spoiler, but, you know. Moving on.
To be fair, I kept forgetting the title while we were watching this, and I couldn't remember. I was sitting in the theater as it was coming to a close, and I was like, what was the title of this movie again? And then I remembered, and I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, now I get it. It's probably keeping it simple.
Hey, you can probably figure out what happens.
This movie was basically an elevated Blumhouse movie, but also, on top of being elevated, it was really fucking gross. It wasn't really scary. It was like kind of like, I don't know, Funny Games or Serbian film or something, where it was like,
yeah, it's pretty
bloody, nasty.
Yeah, there was some stuff that
kids are chewing on knives. I was like, about to vomit a couple times. It was
the part where he
one of the most viscerally
arm and rips out the long.
Yeah, I mean it was probably one of the most viscerally disgusting things ever. But after watching this movie, I clapped my hands together and thought, white women, SMH.
You're just reusing your Letterboxd review, huh?
That was my Letterboxd review, and the reason I repeat it is because it's true. You have this movie that starts out kind of like, you know, there's something obviously creepy about this lady. She wants a new blind daughter to replace her old blind daughter, though to the extent of which you don't really know at first. And there's a level where she's bonding with the kids, but still also just kind of being a little fucking weird. And then eventually it gets weirder and weirder, and various things like the Russian snuff film that she made, and then she downloaded off the internet and then uploaded to a VHS tape. She watches that a bunch of times, and it's like brainwashing. And
she pisses on her adopted son.
Yeah, ultimately the movie's about grief. Yeah. Just like Final Destination.
And gaslighting, just like the other Australian movie.
Like The Surfer, the movie has gaslighting elements. Although I feel like Australia's like the country of New Jersey is the best way to describe the people there.
I think that's a good description.
So it makes sense. But you got this white woman who's really sad that her daughter terribly drowned in the pool. The context of which we don't know a bunch. It's not that important. There's a lot of like missing context you gotta kind of fill in the blanks for, which is good. There's a lot left up to the imagination. Then there's things like the occasional gore scene, or when something violent happens, or disgusting, or you see a dead body or something, and it is very much not left up to imagination. which I was kind of mixed on, honestly. I'm fine with it to an extent. But I mean, the thesis of the movie is spelt out. There's an early scene where the adoptive son, Andy, and the adoptive mother are sitting there and they're getting drunk together and they're chatting and they're talking about grief, and he asks how'd you get past your daughter's death, and she's like, I didn't at all.
Yeah.
He's like, oh. But he has some resentment towards his father. There's also some themes of like, I don't know. So he's kind of a bastard child, or from like some sort of failed marriage beforehand, or we don't really know. But the dad beats him and then treats the daughter really well. And this theme kind of reflects upon our lead, who is being basically abused and gaslighted into thinking he's a crazy person. Which is, if you watched our Surfer, it's the same thing. Australian people only know how to make one movie. And they're also, Australian people are really good at making movies that are full of anxiety and very visceral. That goes back to the George Miller days when you watch a movie like Babe, you know?
Happy Feet 2.
Happy Feet 2. You watch Happy Feet 2 and you think...
You just get that
visceral. It's just
dread.
visceral. You get existential dread. It's like... The whole thing's just a fucking mess. But, I don't know. I don't really want to spoil it, because I think the movie kind of unraveling... At the end, it's kind of all unraveled, and it's all in front of you, except the things that aren't in front of you, which are left up to imagination and inference, which is also kind of fun. But I thought it was mostly satisfying. The cinematography was pretty okay on it. The gore was very well done. I thought some of it ran a little long. I thought a little bit mean-spirited. Some of it perhaps didn't really play much back into the thesis, other than fucked up what these kids are going through. Now watch this kid chew on a knife for 10 minutes while you want to vomit on yourself, which I guess is, visceral. They're going for visceral. It's the same thing as the Surfer with Nicolas Cage. They want to give you visceral in these Ozploitation films. But ultimately, I mean, sometimes the line is blurred between this grief message and the desperation to do anything to bring back your loved ones after they die and not accepting death, blah, blah, blah. That line gets sometimes blurred with look at 10-year-old boy chew on knife for 5 minutes. I overall really liked it, but there is a point where the filmmakers definitely revel in trying to disgust you. Look at corpse and freezer. Look at corpse here and there. I mean, it's a horror movie, but I also think, like, I don't know. I got the point. I got the point after a couple knife chews. I don't need 5 straight minutes of it. But I feel like part of the movie's marketing is, like, it's gotta be extreme. I'll try to sell it. I mean, I don't think that marketing works as well as it used to. Like, people were like, Paranormal Activity is the scariest movie I'll ever fucking see. And it's not scary at all. It's really fucking boring. But it tricked people into watching those movies and made a pretty successful franchise for a number of years that was literally dirt cheap nothing movies. So... But at least this movie gives something. But I feel like not a great movie, not a blowjob movie, despite what you might think. Don't go into it thinking that. I thought it was mostly interesting, but I also feel like I don't know. I've seen enough of these like death is sad movies this year, and. I did think the movie was really well done. The acting was really good. There were some cool gimmicks. I wish we got more into what this... The spoiler alert, there's a possession aspect to this movie. I'm not going to go too much into it. You get virtually no context. There's like symbols and like people talking, and there's the Russian snuff film that they made and then transferred to VHS for some reason so they could watch. And kind of like a ring type, not really a ring type situation, but to try to capture that like CRT imagery. I think they did it on VHS just because it was cool. instead of her being like, I'm gonna go on Live Leak and watch this video for the 8th time, you know? That's where you watch the real snuff films on Live Leak. I guess they'd probably. I don't know anything about Live Leak. I just know that people get blowed up on there.
Well, Live Leak doesn't exist anymore, but it was mostly just footage.
No, it does. I was just on it the other day with Isaiah.
Oh, did they
Not
make
my
a copycat? The
they
real
must
Live
have.
Leak's gone.
Somebody made some sort of copycat, although it seemingly was only like 20 videos.
Live Leak was like 98% like some Chinese guys at a construction site, and then because it's China, a bunch of pipes fall on him and eviscerate him.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it was. I didn't watch. I refused to watch any of the videos, but they pulled up the thing. I was like, I'm kind of good on the whole watching people horribly die for real. It's not really my thing. Anyway, shout out Isaiah. I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, I don't know. It was fine. It was good. I liked it, but I also I didn't think it was amazing. I thought I liked the Surfer better because I thought there was something kind of fun about Nicolas Cage. I did think Psycho Lady was kind of cool. Kind of like she was good, but I don't know. I think like if I'm gonna watch Australian people for 2 hours, I'd rather them be on a surfboard than children chewing on knives. So Aiden, what did you think of Bring Her Back?
I liked Bring Her Back a lot. I liked Talk to Me a lot. I saw that on an airplane.
I have that movie. I haven't watched it.
I was very impressed with Talk to Me. Talk to Me is also a very not subtle movie. This movie, also not very subtle.
No.
There's lots of grief and letting go and cycles of abuse.
We've covered these
the
topics
themes,
a few times lately.
Themes pretty straightforward. Not very subtle. But I like everything that's going on. I like the cast. The creepy little boy stuff is kind of like, realistically, if it wasn't there, not a lot changes in the movie. But it was very disgusting and disturbing in a way that I found interesting.
Yeah, I was almost like, I think it would have been narratively satisfying, and I don't know if it would undercut their nihilistic vision, but you almost hope for like, and I think this is something that horror movies don't do as much as they used to, but I thought it'd be cool if the little kid like drowned the mom or something, or like beat her up, or there was some sort of like thematic close, but instead the mom just does her own thing. That does not happen.
Yeah, I think there's some cool stuff going on. As far as creepy demonic possession movie goes, very good. I don't typically like the genre of demonic possession because 99% of them are just really bad Exorcist knockoffs, and Exorcist is like one of 3 good demonic possession movies.
Or it's just like what's wrong with Terry, and they're running around the house yelling with the jump scare, the stock jump scare scream.
Yeah,
the Blumhouse stock.
This was a very different take on it that I thought was fresh and disturbing and weird, even though it's kind of secondary to the actual plot. I really liked the cast. I liked how the movie looked. There's sort of a recurring imagery of circles throughout. Kind of, I don't know, about sort of the cycles of grief and inflicting it on other people. I had a lot of fun with it. It's very, if you're squeamish, it's not something you should watch. There's a lot of things that made me extremely uncomfortable, and that's very difficult for a movie to do. Lots of just horribly uncomfortable things happening to a child, so that's probably going to turn off a lot of people.
Come on, Aiden, it's not just one child, it's multiple children. Pretty
Most
much
of it's one child.
exclusively children, but especially the one child that's loosely plot relevant.
The others get some of it, but
Little Connor.
one of them
Little
gets
Connor.
the most of it. Two Australian movies about a guy getting gaslit. Kind of a funny coincidence. Yeah.
Both are meant to just be loud and anxious and real sphincter clenchers. Couple sphincter clenchers.
I liked Talk to Me a lot, so I was excited to see what they would do, and it's very interesting and different from that movie, so I'm glad they pulled it off again, and I guess I'll see Talk to Me when that comes out. Do you think the third one's going to be called Talk to Me Tokyo Drift?
Talk to Me. No,
T9.
It'll probably be called like Australian Talk,
The Fate of the Talk.
Talk to me in small letters, ... Talk to Talkyo Me.
Tokyo Drift.
Talkyo hand thing from the poster. Talkyo the hand,
Yeah, good stuff. Very much not a movie for everyone. If you don't want to see just the most disgusting shit you've ever seen.
I didn't think I could pitch this one to my girlfriend without her getting mad at me, so...
Yeah, it's a tough sell. It's a tough sell.
And if you're a kid going for the old 1-2 special, you know?
This is like the anti-blowjob movie, because you're just watching a disgusting little kid run around and hurt himself.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta be pretty fucked up to get a blowjob to this movie. You know, this ain't The Conjuring, you know? Annabelle isn't jumping around fighting Patrick Wilson, you know? Jumping around CGI laser battle between Patrick Wilson and Annabelle.
Flower's
That's not
sister.
happening here.
Bates Motel.
That's not Kate Blanchett.
Yeah, it literally is.
Kate Blanchett plays the both.
She's in the Annabelle
Kate
movies.
Kate Blanchett plays the both of them. And Lord of the
She
Rings.
doesn't play Annabelle. Kate Blanchett plays Patrick Wilson's
yeah, I
wife.
know. Is that Kate Blanchett?
Yes, it is.
Huh.
And her sister's also in some of the movies. Her real life sister who plays her fictional sister or something. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, nepotism.
Those movies are fucking weird.
I like how LeBron James in Space Jam: A New Legacy transitioning off of Bring Her Back, you know? I like how he didn't cast any of his real family members, but he'd be like, Little Brownie, and it's just some guy playing Brownie. Like, his family was so fucking bad at acting or just too lazy to do it that they had to cast professional actors to play all of his real life kids. And like the family are in like 2 scenes. They're like, oh my god, I'm getting pulled through the Looney Tunes.
Bro, I'm pretty sure I think the Iron Giant's in more scenes than his family.
I'm pretty sure, you know, it's cool.
Like the fucking
that
Joker and whatever.
In the basketball scene, the crazy Australian bitch in this movie, she was previewed in that scene. You didn't see her because she's in the way background. They did render a model though. They actually just put John Wayne Gacy in there. HBO Max was gonna have one of those like murder documentaries on John Wayne Gacy, so they put him in the background of the basketball game, and he goes. So yeah. Anyways, back to bring me back. Back to bring me back. Bring us back into the review.
Connor, would you recommend Bring Her Back?
Yeah, sure. Not to everybody, for sure. If you don't want to see a kid chewing on a knife for 10 minutes while blood squirts out of his mouth, that's like the tip of the iceberg. It gets pretty nasty. Pretty cruel movie. But a good movie. I do think, like, maybe it's just this year made this movie feel derivative. Like, if we didn't watch 7 movies about grief or another Australian movie about clenching sphincter, maybe I would be a little more warm to recommend it. But if you're not squeamish, it is a good movie. I do think there's some shit that might have been. I think I found certain aspects more interesting I would have preferred maybe just like a drama horror movie, and you could leave some of that funny games business at home, you know, or just minimize it. But whatever, it was good. I recommend it. Not for the faint of heart, though. Not for dates. Not for blowjobs. Not for grandma. But if you're a fucking freak, creep, or loser,
Tom.
yeah, if you're any of the things mentioned in every clickbait thumbnail of a Turkey Tom video, then you're probably good. You probably like this one. So, Aiden, would you recommend Bring Her Back?
Yep. Yes, I would. It is. You probably have to fit into a decently niche. Like, you're okay with disgusting, awful gore.
I think honestly, start with the training wheels. Like watch funny games, no matter who you are, and then just imagine that dialed up like 5 times, and that's what this movie is in terms of like cruelty and gore. And
Yeah.
Funny Games is a good movie too, despite it being a little bit cruel.
If you, I don't know, I mean, if you can stomach it, and you're into, like, weird, vaguely pretentious RD-A24 movies, I guess, like, why the fuck not? I don't know what anyone else would get out of this.
Watch Hostel, but imagine a 12-year-old.
It is pretty hostile. Yes, I guess, yeah. Yeah, mostly.
Imagine
the people
Obi.
who can stomach it.
Imagine Obi, because there's a cat in this movie. There's a cat in this movie. So imagine Obi, who's kind of our little movie star these days. He loves being in the movies. He loves being in the movies. Maya would be in these, but she can no longer move. She's crippled from being too fat.
That's not true.
Anyways, tune in tomorrow for a similar double feature presentation of Karate Kid Legends, the legacy sequel that finally sees Hong from the reboot Karate Kid team up with Ralph Macchio's Karate Kid himself.
Two very
to train
similar
the new
movies.
generation of Karate Kid children, with special guest star Yoda Joe 93, aka Sith Lord Joey, since he's fallen in with the Knights of Melvin, apparently.
These two movies couldn't be any more similar.
We don't know yet. We don't know.
There's a chance that Ralph
We don't
Macchio
know.
chews on a knife.
We do not, yeah. Or the new Karate Kid, Ralph Macchio is like, you must chew on this knife for 5 excruciating minutes. Well, blood squirts everywhere.